Okay. It's time to start. Hi. We're back at it again this week with more The Great Ace Attorney. So, last week we went into the trial. We found out that William Shakespeare is indeed a fraud and kind of an asshole who counterfeits coins made of ice and uses it to turn on a gas machine without actually paying money. So we found that out. We got delayed the inevitable for Natsume as we discovered that there was indeed tea that still existed that he brought over to the roommate, and they're testing it for poison. So we have one more day of investigation, and it's probably gonna be like a 2-part trial or something. So let's see what we're getting into. Phew, we made it back in one piece. Just, to be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while.
Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There are so many carriages on the streets of London. You were very nearly flattened several times.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that.
Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruhodo-san. It really was. I was in awe of you.
Oh! Thank you.
And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can't find some new clues for court tomorrow.
Yes! Let's do that!
Is everything alright?
I suppose. I still can't quite believe it, that's all. That I'm here in England. Working as a lawyer, I mean. In the Old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him, standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma.
It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him to Great Britain and work alongside him.
Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him.
And you're doing wonderfully, Naruhodo-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if you were here with us.
Thank you, Sasato-san. Thank you. Okay, so now that we're investigating, what do we do first, I wonder? Do we go over things with her? Yeah, let's go say hello to Sholmes and Iris. Ooh, I was wearing my blue blockers, but my eyes are okay for now.
Oh, Bruno and Susie! Hooray! You're back! Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see. I am! And you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I've just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups.
Really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell? The Wanderers return at last. Where on earth have the pair of you been? We've been in court? Oh! For Mr. Mustache's case. That was today, was it?
I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict, at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. and I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long.
Is Lord Van Zeeks an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes?
Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Naruhodo.
Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes, whatever is that odor? Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful.
Ah, indeed. That's the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science.
Oh dear.
Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Can get more inquiry on Van Zeeks. Lord Barrick Van Zeeks. Yes, it's an interesting sobriquet. It's an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey. Once the legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed. Even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts, sooner or later, the hapless soul will vanish from the capital.
But vanish how exactly?
By falling under a passing carriage, or drowning in the Thames, or succumbing to a sudden fever, or, quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow.
It seems a little far-fetched, really.
Well, on the bright side, Mr. Mustache is fighting fit, for the time being at least.
That's not overly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquainted are, well, by Lord Van Zeek's own hand.
As it happens, Miss Susato, that is quite impossible.
Oh? Why?
Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast-iron alibi.
Really?
And so his reign continued, but 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived when I was thrust into that trial at the Old Bailey. That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection. It really did end bitterly indeed.
And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again.
Poor Runo. I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky. Or incredibly unlikable.
I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing of all Japanese people.
How about we skip the Japanese people part for now? Let's just go back to the foul smell. What was that about?
So, what is that indescribably foul smell?
Ah, well, most probably this, I would say.
What is that?
My dear fellow, it is of course my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is genuine at the drop of some tea.
Oh my.
That's a very oddly specific test. There are some unscrupulous sorts of manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but is in fact merely dyed leaves of drab flavor.
Well, that's certainly unsavory behavior.
And unsavory tea, ayo. So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris!
At the ready, Hurley.
Let us add a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here. Do you see what happens?
It turned completely black!
And what a foul odor it's giving off.
Indeed. The blacker the tea becomes and the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Dajiri. That's very ingenious. But what do you do with that black liquid now? Why, dispose of it naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you?
There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes.
Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam.
Right.
The point is, we are entering a new era of science in the world of criminal investigation. Also,
Yes, forensic science. Oh, these are such exciting times.
I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Sherlock-Holmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative technique is based. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research.
Forensic science? I suppose I should find out more about that.
Alright, so we can keep going with forensic science, or we can go back to Japanese people. Let's go back to Japanese people. We're not gonna derail the conversation kind of odd now, are we?
With Mr. Natsume, who I'm currently defending, being Japanese as well as Mrs. Sato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Ziek seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese. Indeed. It is an interesting observation.
Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes?
It was about 10 years ago that Barak von Zieks chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan.
No!
What the? Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened?
I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair.
Oh, but...
The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course, I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Mustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe.
So, your tea test. Is that an example of forensic science?
Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality.
Not a huge number of cases, then.
Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints? Not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels here.
I hadn't even heard of them until recently.
Which is partly why I undertake research in this field of myself, of course.
Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes?
There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I am researching is skin prints.
Skin prints?
A nomenclature of my own design, as is this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whichever person is under investigation.
Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes!
As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black.
I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed.
Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues. That's the spirit, Bruno. See you later.
Yes, until later.
No, no, Mr. Sholmes. We were thinking you'd come with us.
You were?
Yes, of course! You said so just a moment ago. You said we witnessed your forensic talents in action.
Ah, yes. I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later. In all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well, I might.
Your commitment astounds me.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Reno. Bye, Susie.
Alright, and let's see. Team crime. Back to Shamsphere's room. Oh, Gregson's here.
Oh! Hello again, Inspector Gregson.
What are you doing here?
Well... We were hoping to have another look around, actually.
The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, I know the score.
Oh, yes. One other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With the tea in it?
Yeah, we found it all right. And there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said.
I knew it.
It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today.
That's wonderful news. Thank you.
Pretty impressive performance in court this morning.
Sorry?
Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here.
Hi, Sholmes. You kind of just popped into existence, didn't you? Is there anything else in this room? Do I have to... Do I have to look at Sholmes already?
Mr. Sholmes! What are you up to over there?
What a question indeed. Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene? What are you doing here, Sholmes? What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me. Once a great detective, one is always... under scrutiny, it seems.
Is now the times, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised?
With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam.
What's all this?
All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Sherlock Holmes' sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim.
A sample? From Mr. Shamsphere's cup?
Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. There now. Spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed.
Spray? How do I do that exactly?
A little press of A on the area you're interested in is all that's required. Like so.
What is that stuff? It's like a fog.
A suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. That was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea.
As you do.
Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. we may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question.
Well, there's nothing to lose, I hope, and I suppose. Let's explore.
So... Alright. Yeah. Alright. We've got some interesting fingerprint placements, actually. Whoa. Anything on the floor? Nope. Oh yeah, the window. That's for sure. Oh, yeah. Well. Is that everything? Do I just press B now? Handprint on the stage. Probably just to put the fire down? Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Look! There are dozens of handprints here!
So there are. A great many indeed. So much so that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact.
It sent a chill down my spine.
Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture?
Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene after all.
And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel.
Oh, very true, Miss Susato. It's a bit of a mystery, then.
That is a bit strange, I will say. Is there anything else interesting that he would touch? What else could there be a spot to spray? There sure are a lot over there. But what else? Oh, on the floor. Okay.
Oh, look at all this here.
Ah, yes. Interesting.
A multitude of the victim's handprints.
Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot?
Oh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here?
There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over there though, what is there?
I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over.
I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Sholmes.
Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor.
Yes. There's no obvious explanation.
Man, it's very precise, some of these controls. Oh, it's like a loose floorboard, too. Right. Looking kind of thing.
Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over the room, didn't we?
We did. But there are 2 places in particular that are of interest, I would say.
The handprints on the floor there. And on the wall by the picture, you mean?
Yes. And I think the floor warrants warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment.
What is it, Mrs. Sato?
Look here, Mr. Naruhodo. One of the floorboards was popped out.
One of the... You mean... It's a secret hiding place? Excellent work, Mr. Sato. So, what do we have in here?
What are you lot doing?
Inspector Grayson!
Stand aside right this minute. That's my job to investigate here.
No need, Inspector. You continue to dig in your portion of chips, whilst we dig around under the floor here.
Your fancy talk's putting me off my foot anyway, Sholmes. A new bit of evidence is exactly what I need.
Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find.
It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw tatami mat.
No, I know. But I never expected one of those wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there too. Aren't you curious?
I'll investigate it at once.
Is it something under the picture?
There's nothing behind the picture, sadly.
Damn it.
Only the wall.
How disappointing. But then, how do you explain the handprints?
I really can't think of why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that.
Oh. Click where?
There you are, a print for you.
Oh, thanks. I forgot you had that.
Oh, thank you very much. His invention can make prints too? Now then. I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there. I'm desperate, you know.
So am I.
Okay, Greggy, what'd you find?
I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath that floorboard there. Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson! Really, it's been too long.
What is it, Sholmes?
I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there, seeing as we're such good friends.
We're not friends.
No, I suppose not. A dismal failure. Yes, I heard.
I killed to know what was under that floorboard.
Alright then. Fair's fair.
What?
You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in.
Really, Inspector? Thank you! We're all dying to know. Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather.
Boy, stop making me out to be some kind of nut. There were 3 items under the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box.
Now, what do you want to know? Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving up time in Manchester.
How terrible.
It made the headlines down here in London as well. The bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature got him first.
Oh my goodness. He committed a capital offense?
Man by the name of Sheldon. Nasty piece of work into burglaries and murder. They say the hoard he knocked off was worth about £1,000.
A hoard? Of treasure, you mean?
Jewelry and the like. But he hid it somewhere and no one knows where. And now he's dead. The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell, or some such was the headline.
Does it not strike you, though? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor?
I suppose now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden back at the yard and see if I can turn anything up.
Gotta look at that later.
So, this is the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me.
Oh, there's Gyarados, and then some guy. Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house here.
And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Gyarados, the landlord, of course.
But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Gyarados' son, perhaps?
Perhaps. You can take that print if you like.
Really? Are you sure? We can presume, therefore, that the Arno really knows the identity of the young fellow, that is. Is that true?
Huh. Well, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you lot, leaking information isn't one of my pastimes.
My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work.
All the more reason, and I'm telling ya.
A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. Oh my god. I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shamspear himself isn't in it. Photographic prints are still rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Gyarados was rather delighted to have been immortalized. He probably made a proud present of it.
Now this tin box looks interesting, doesn't it?
Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it? If you want to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty.
What? Shamspear! Give us a clue, man!
He didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruhodo. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box.
Yeah, thin air. It's empty. Rather like how I feel inside. That's depressing. Is there nothing more to this box then? I wonder. These are an odd set of clues so far. Kitty! It's you! You're back! Hi, Kitty.
Oh, look! It's that lovely little kitty cat. What was its name?
It's Mr. Nosmaze, isn't it? I don't think we ever asked him, actually.
Well, why don't we call it, Wagahai?
You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here. Clever cat.
Oh, wonderful. Now, well then, Wagahai, here's something delicious I bought for you from the cat's meat then, man.
When'd you buy that? Good kitty. The hell is it eating? Cat meat, man.
He couldn't be happier now. Look.
I just hope we can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Well, we can start looking at all the other stuff again. So, can we interact with Kitty? Hello. Hi, Kitty.
That was a cheeky little meow, Wagahai.
Cute.
Oh, but he's so adorable. I could sit and watch him forever.
I think he may not appreciate that after a while, and we have an investigation to get back to.
You just keep being cute over there, Wagahai. You're so cute. You're so fucking cute. You're so cute. Well, I guess we might as well look at the gas thing again.
If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh.
That's true. But if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change.
London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato-san and I are going to make it this spring.
That's true. We don't even have a meter in Baker Street, let alone a gas stove.
Look how dark the stain on the floor is underneath the meter there.
Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted, as you established in court this morning.
It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it?
Mr. Shamspeare must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose.
It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. Ah, the ill-fated cups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night.
During their heated literary debate, yes.
Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? Sounds like it was quite a discussion. Well, discussion in quotes, that is.
Now that I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison.
That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way.
Oh, yeah, we can look at the soap again.
So it turns out that Mr. Shamsphere wasn't eating the soap at all.
That's right. The mystery of why he had it on a plate whilst holding a fork in his hand is solved.
Yes. To prize his latest ice coin out of its mold. And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two.
It certainly was hard to imagine, let alone to deduce.
Truly, though. Like, I can't even imagine that ever coming up, you know?
The sun never shines in this room, thanks to that depressing bricked-up window.
Yet, with enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you?
That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato.
Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Nanahodo.
Oh, I didn't mean to click that again. Let's see. Not much else currently. Still the gas dialogue from before. Alright, now that we did that, we could probably look at the evidence. Okay, so now we got this photo. Very, very strange. Why would he be pressing up against this wall? It looks like he's done it, like, consecutively, or he's done it a lot. Like, periodically or something. But for what reason? Condemned criminal dies of natural causes in prison. Manchester's Strange Ways prison announced the death of a convicted murderer and burglar, Selden, by natural causes in the early hours this morning. He had been suffering with fever since the end of October. Alerted by the shouts of his fellow cellmate, medical staff arrived to find him already dead, before his capital punishment could be carried out. There is Garda with his medal, and whoever this guy is. I hope I didn't miss something really small like last time. That would suck. I'm trying to pinpoint as exactly as I can to not get stuck this time. Doesn't seem like we have anything else from Mr. Garadub. Well, not Garadub, for Gregson. And everything else is just dialogue we've already seen. So we might be good here. Oh. Let's try move. Let's go to Mr. Garadub. Ask him about the picture, maybe. That might be good, right?
Mr. Garadub appears to be out.
Oh. Oh well. I suppose we'll just have to wait. Have to come back again later. Okay, so he's not here. Maybe we'll see somebody on Briar Road? Well, we can still see the soap. You see this. Still bikes, stuff. Must be something I missed then. I think. Oh, okay. Okay, so this means we do come back here at some point.
What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance.
Yes, I hear angry voices. Huh. What the hell? Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily, thou art mistaken.
Mistaken, my foot. You were looking at my painting.
The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that mustached villain gaveth me. Forgive me, lady.
I wish that you died from that poison.
God have mercy, ample lady, but thou seest I have vigour still. Behold my sham spear dance.
This looks rather ominous, doesn't it?
It's a bit strange, yes. Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land whence riseth the sun. How now?
What are you doing here, Mr. Shamsphere?
Marry, I do believe I am returned unto another ward.
He was looking, that's what he was doing. Looking at my terrible work.
Eastern fellow, so dark clad. Faith,
Thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee. Oh, well, thank you. But that doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? My dude. Either that thing is cheap as hell or you're strong as fuck. Anon! Excellent! There he goes. Mr. Shakespeare might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down.
I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person.
Ah, Miss Green, is everything alright?
Oh, yes. I mean, don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now.
Oh, I see.
We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green. Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it.
Wait, wasn't there like a painting? Yeah, she said painting. Did we ever see what it was? Was it always on the floor? I actually don't remember. The 1 week break is real. The 1 week ago syndrome is kicking in. I do not remember. Well, first things first, let's talk to her, right?
So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green?
I am, thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me.
Well, yes. It really was an ordeal, wasn't it?
As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening, minding my own business. And then, completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke up again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already.
What a terrible week it's been for you.
Oh no, I'm sure I'm quite very lucky, really. I'll look back on this fondly.
Really?
Anyway, I must be getting my things together now, so I'm ready to be discharged.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time when you're obviously busy. Rounded hair. Rounded nose.
Her hair is similar. I wonder if they're related or something. Odd that we can't really do anything about this painting, though. Is that really it? Strange. I think I was supposed to do dialogue in the beginning of this, but I didn't do it. So maybe I'll do that, and maybe that'll trigger the story triggers. I think so. Oh no.
It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand.
I know.
Not only that, but then finding out that he is actually a bare-faced gas thief as well.
Yes, that was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while, it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Soseki-san poisoning the tea.
Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this, Mr. Shamsphere, than we yet know. I'm sure of it.
Mr. Shamsphere certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first.
What's become of him, actually?
I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he was receiving treatment.
Okay, I'm so dumb that I didn't do this earlier. Oh? Which one is that?
Let me see. Ah, yes. He's at St. Bartholomew's, or Bart's, as Londoners call it.
We know that place, don't we?
Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken.
Ah, yes. After Soseki-san stabbed her in the back.
Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone.
Perhaps we both owe Soseki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's. Yes, we should probably visit that hospital later. Which I did already, which is kind of awkward that I didn't do this dialogue already. So, we know that Soseki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question. But as he isn't the culprit, then obviously...
Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea.
But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamsphere's body?
I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamsphere's room that will help solve the mystery.
Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over the place already. But it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Oh god.
Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea left at the bar, so...
Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, which we did, we could ask him about that. I am so dumb for not doing this earlier, and I hope it doesn't trigger a flag that makes it so you actually proceed, because that would be so bad. Kazuma Asogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I can still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with. As a stowaway? Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Cosma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths so that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through the trial. That you really ought to go into law, be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it, believe me. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world. The city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day... One day what? Oh, no. Never mind.
Naruhodo-san?
Oh, sorry! I was just thinking about Cosma.
Yes. He's forever in my thoughts, too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he's so... And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course.
Yes, that's right. But...
Yes?
I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know. The thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all.
Naruhodo-san, what do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions?
Oh. I mean this.
His katana?
I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course.
No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it.
When I have it in my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage.
Yes.
Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword.
Wow, I missed a lot of dialogue by not doing this earlier.
Karuma?
That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Renosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karama guides me. I truly believe that.
So, its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling on that subject.
There's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain.
Something you have to do?
Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
What did he mean by something very important that I have to do?
I had hoped that the answer to that question would become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet I've not found a single clue.
I see.
Okay, well, we passed the time, so... Did that... Do you know? Okay. I'm glad that she has, like, these helpful tips when you look at the map menu, because it does help you know where to go. And I think I did actually have to proceed that dialogue to even get this to proc. That's interesting.
Oh, Mr. Natsume's back.
So he is.
Mr. Natsume, hello.
I am a cat.
Sorry?
I don't know who Mr. Natsume is, or Herlock Sholmes. I don't know about courts, or trials, or Old Baileys. I am a cat. That's what I am. Just a cat.
Mr. Naruhodo, he's trying to escape from reality.
Trying to?
He already has. Completely. So, what is your name, then?
Is it? I have no name.
Mr. Naruhodo, he hasn't fully found out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality. God damn it. Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume?
I am not a cat.
It worked. He's back in the real world.
What's going on? I mean, what's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that! It's obvious! My cursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate.
Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court prove that there's hope.
Yes. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire was brilliant, but the Reaper is omnipresent in court, in my lodgings. Here, there, everywhere.
What's he looking straight at me for?
I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss.
Oh, yes. Yes, we must.
Oh boy.
In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if you just block those out, then today, being in that courtroom was... It was the most moving experience of my life, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're too kind. Scotland Yard found the remaining tea, just as we deduced, and are analyzing as we speak.
There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's solemn sworn Soseki, certainly.
Tell me, did you both drink the tea at the same time that night?
Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies.
And at the time, you were both completely fine. As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shamsphere then engaged in the Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings will be how the poison was taken by the victim then.
That rotten Shamsphere, what have I ever done to him?
You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently?
I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything. Anything at all!
Right.
But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner.
Let you know what, Mr. Natsume?
About the soap, of course. What else?
Oh dear. Are you struggling with such a meager stipend?
Of course I am. If I had money, I wouldn't have chosen to live an accursed existence in such accursed lodgings.
Oh yes. You said it's because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you?
Exactly. Especially the room that I rent. The spirit of that capital offender who lived there still haunts the place, and it's trying to kill me.
Capital offender?
But I asked locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire that the next time you visit me, you bring scores of super soft soaps.
Hi Popo, welcome to the stream. How you be? I'm doing good. You know, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this?
Ah, there it is! That lathery lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding to the depths of despair. Slippery, sickly, psychotic saboteur!
You've really gone off soap, haven't you?
Absolutely, and I've made up my mind. The next time someone gives me soap as a present, it's friendship finished firmly forever.
I don't know that we can blame soap for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume.
I wonder if he knows anything about this person.
Mr. Natsume, it's nothing much, but...
Ha! It's been too long since I've been offered a present with that delightfully humble etiquette of our homeland.
What?
You're too kind. I accept it gladly.
Sorry, but I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. Oh, I see. This?
What's this?
It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamsphere's room.
Ah, so he knew, did he?
Sorry?
About this man, Selden, a convicted killer, and the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings.
Oh.
What?
He's already taken one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another, a miserable mustached, much maligned Japanese man.
Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us. Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit.
The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. The Selden man was arrested about a year ago now. And at the time, he was hiding out in lodgings at Mr. Garadeb's house.
What? He lived? Where you do now?
That's right, yes. Exactly where I live now. In my very room.
Oh my. Your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of a capital offense?
But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse.
What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume?
It's already caused one death, a few months after the criminal passed away in prison. The man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger, he was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside.
Locked from the inside? Exactly like the case we're dealing with now. So, that's the convict's curse, is it?
Yes. Well, that was the start of it.
Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume?
The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas.
Gas?
I only found that out after I signed the lease. When Mr. Garadeb came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I had known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal.
Lucky for Mr. Garadeb, maybe, but not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. And now you believe this curse is affecting you?
It is. It is! At first, I just felt as though I was being watched all the time.
And then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you?
The dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up, and then the room is as cold as ice.
But why is your room so cold?
London winters are too cold to bear without any heating on over a night. For some reason, even though I light the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pilot always goes out, and the room fills with gas.
But that's terrible! That's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Mr. Shamsphere last night, when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident than can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Garadeb's rooms? Are you home, Garadeb? Oh, he might be. The dialogue changed on this selection. Ah, yes. Ah, you're here now, Mr. Garadeb.
Right ballet business it is for me, you know? Getting out and about.
Were you at the Old Bailey by any chance?
Naturally. Fate of my lodgings hanging in the balance and all that, not a trial to miss.
The fate of what it's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings, yes.
Course, the place has caused quite a stir around the capital on more than one occasion already. As the old haunted lodgings or some such.
Ah, well, at least he knows.
Makes you wonder what the blazes is going on, don't you know?
Yes, I'm sure it does. In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago, you were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened.
Also, Sholmes is suddenly here.
Stuffed off at the prison on the way home in fact. Beastly business.
I see.
So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh?
Maybe we'll talk to him first, and then maybe we can present the picture after, since it has Wyndham in it.
Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a failed actor, cheap of questionable character, eh?
Oh, chap, not chap.
Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that ballet curse.
The convict's curse, you mean?
Ah, heard the stories, have you? Rotten scoundrel was arrested here, then the next chap in the room goes and kills over. Then there was that woman who dropped dead just outside the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. And my next day... Well, can't help but get the colly wobbles, can ya?
When you say the woman who dropped dead outside, on the street, do you mean Miss Green?
Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Shamspear, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still.
Yes, well, so is that blasted convict's curse, it seems.
Personally, I should be quite content. Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, a fascinating history. Why, it sounds like the lap of luxury. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either.
But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps up here.
Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things, in case there are any mishaps or such like.
I think you've had your mishap already, sir. That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes. Heavens forgive me. The words just came to my lips. I also like how none of us are reacting to the fact that he's just suddenly here. But it also might be because I went out of order. I'm not entirely sure.
Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh?
There's no need for that, Mr. Garradeb.
That's right. Mr. Natsume is in no way fishy.
He is undeniably peculiar, however. Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away?
Yes, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone, and he popped up the very same day. Never came across a chap so keen for a place with a background, as it were.
I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on so much as the cheap rent, actually.
So, how long has Mr. Shamspear been lodging under your roof?
That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it.
Only 3 months? He's quite new here too, then.
And to what do we owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garradeb, if I may ask? Well, it was that Selden scoundrel, as it happens.
Selden? The convict, you mean? Do Selden and Chancefear have some kind of connection, then?
That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clinic 3 months ago now, you see. Some malady or other.
Yes, we've seen the report from the newspaper at the time.
Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedian showed his face. The actor fellow.
Really?
Yes, I remember it quite distinctly.
'Tis small, this world we inhabit. Prithee, landlord, hear my request. I, the humble Shamsphere, still desire to take thy room on the middle floor offered erewhile for rent.
Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on that middle floor. Ground floor rooms vacant though.
Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine will unto thee.
Those girls must be muffling your ears. The room on the middle floor is taken. It's ground floor or nothing.
Very well, we have an accord.
Glad to hear it. Welcome to the...
Lower Shamsphere dance to celebrate.
Oh my god.
From what I heard in court today, sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was about 3 months in arrears with the rent too. Yes, the fellow is a ballet player, alright.
Thank you for your candor, Mr. Garretib. We are most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe. Put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me. What's happened to you? Shakespeare, my dear fellow. One of his most famous lines. I wish to divulge my own learning on the subject, for I have a turn for literature too, you know. Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines, then. Okay, so we gotta go to the present menu, and let's ask him about this photo. Mr. Garretib, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there?
No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name.
Duncan Ross?
A street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot. Just for kicks, really.
Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume?
Yes, that's right.
Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room in mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Mustache was waiting for, one might say.
Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before the Japanese chap.
Would you mind telling us a little more about him?
Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school. Had to work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago, after that criminal Selden was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for new rooms, with a history behind them.
A history of cheap rent, maybe? Yes.
Yes. Well, anyway, it was one morning about a month ago now. I hadn't quite worked out the old trick of watching the gas lamps to see what my lodgers are up to at the time. So, sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. Smell of gas that alerted me was...
Ah, yes. synonymous with the smell of death.
Called the police straight away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off its hinges. But once we got inside, we are barely collapsed.
Because of the gas?
Yes, room is full of it, no air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed.
So, Mr. Ross suffocated to death.
Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it sent me back to have the lot replaced all over the house.
But even after you had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night whilst he's asleep in bed.
Well, that's the bad curse, the convict's curse. I've done my duty as a landlord now.
Someone's feeling defensive.
Ah, that reminds me actually.
Yes?
About young Duncan, the night before the young chap perished, he'd been writing a letter of affection to a young lady.
A love letter, you mean?
Yes. Where did I put it now? Ah, there it is. Left it on my desk.
If you'll excuse me. Let me see now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart.
Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence?
My dear Miss Susato, that is precisely why I preface my reading with, if you'll excuse me.
I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes. No.
Sadly, he didn't address it though, so I have no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really.
I see. That's going to play on my mind.
But really, the identity of Miss Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should...
Oh, Mr. Ross, I mean, whatever.
I think we should leave well alone.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart.
Mr. Sholmes, please! I've already had to chastise you about this once!
My undying love to you, my colorful darling, Olive Green. Okay, so they were dating. They weren't okay.
Oh.
Or, Olive Green? The woman who was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside this house 5 days ago? The victim of the last case Saseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday? Is it just chance that her name has come up now? Could it possibly be a mere coincidence?
Mr. Naruhodo, whatever could this mean?
Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Miss Susato.
Oh!
Well, thank you for that. Let's go back to the hospital, I guess.
Mr. Naruhodo, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last.
This is good news. But hopefully, just before she leaves... What is it? Oh, she drinking.
Miss Green!
Or poisoning herself? What was that? She clearly just hid something behind her back.
One moment. I'll be with you in a jiffy.
Oh
my god. She was trying to commit suicide or something.
Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor has said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing, really. I was just about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed for me. That's all.
Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you if that's alright.
Don't really have anything else to tell you.
Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. Let's see if we can't coax something out of her. Is it really medicine, though? Cabinets are closed, but this is the bottle that Miss Green was just about to drink from when we arrived.
Yes, she looked rather preoccupied, didn't she?
Perhaps it's very bitter. I can't stand bitter medicine.
I suppose that could be it.
In fact, whenever a doctor prescribes me medicine for a number of days, I always take it all at once.
Oh no!
Well, if you have to take something you don't like, it's best to get it all out of the way in one go, isn't it? No, Renosuke, no, that's how you overdo it.
Oh dear. And I thought Miss Green I should be worrying about at that moment.
I got an award for that? I see. I guess if you don't do all the dialogue, you might miss out on some stuff like that. This is the card that Miss Green was looking at so intently before, isn't it?
Mr. Naruhodo, we shouldn't be peeking at a young woman's private effects.
Right. I should save peeking for gentlemen's effects only.
You mustn't do that either.
And maybe you, Mrs. Sato, shouldn't be peeking into a young man's mind either, huh? I heard of wearing your mind on your sleeve, but Naruhodo seems to do that quite often, honestly. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him, didn't you? Oh. Oh. Oh my. Oh no! I'm so sorry! The bottle of medicine fell down when she did!
Miss Green, are you alright?
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you like that.
No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. It was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan, a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved? Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room to save money for the wedding.
And that's what led him to Mr. Gyarados.
Yes, he told me he found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks desperately sad.
I was starting to think that's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her. Oh, I don't think she knows about this, so I'm just gonna skip this. Damn. The aesthetics are wrong, though. Oh, we can talk to her, duh. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green.
Oh yes, I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering around and wasting space. Not people like me, anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat.
She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk. That's for sure.
I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital room soon.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Mr. Nato, who the hell is this now? Oh, god damn it. Okay.
Surely you were not about to leave. That's quite out of the question.
What? Mr. Sholmes, I didn't realize you were here.
But of course I was, my dear fellow. Watching intently from the shadows as always.
Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about?
Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Miss Osato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi? Why solve a case after it's happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens? That is what sets a great detective apart.
What do you mean?
There is a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. Let us avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening, with nothing but careful observation.
Alright.
All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look, and you cannot fail to see.
You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can.
Oh. It's dead. It is poison. Oh no. That mouse seems to be dead. Look. I didn't notice it there before. Did you?
I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle. But that's the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived.
You don't think...
Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of this scene. That of a tragedy about to take place.
Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before has spilt out on the floor. And the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died. I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison.
Don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently.
Is she throwing it away? Oh, that's so sad.
Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life?
Once we'd left, you would have put it to your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison?
No! Miss Green, please! Please talk to us!
Why does she have a key around her neck, actually? What is this for? Miss Green? You wanna talk to us?
10 seconds later and
10 seconds later, and we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green.
Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like our weight has been lifted.
Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine?
Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while, so I snuck this out when he wasn't looking.
Oh dear.
It completely lacks a label. I wonder what it contains.
I'm afraid I don't really know, but I thought, if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow. Oh please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things.
Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison.
Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh no, oh it's all my fault. What have I done?
I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection.
No, none.
Oh my god. Can we ask more about this? No. We gonna look at the photo again? Mr. Duncan Ross. Who would ever have thought that he was engaged to be married to Miss Green?
To lose one's beloved fiancé must be painful enough.
But then Miss Green suffered that awful injury, and outside her fiancé's former lodgings too.
Fate can be very cruel sometimes.
My god, no. Why? Nande? Doshite? Can we see the painting yet? Why can't we see this painting? I wish to know. What did she paint? Oh, we can look at the letter again. Okay, thank goodness. I almost left. It definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere.
Yes, it may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Sholmes believes was about to happen here. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it. Neither the sender's name or address appear to be written on the envelope of the card, or the card.
And has the part of it's the envelope. It's the envelope. It's the torn off end.
It arrived by post at my home the other day, before the incident that put me in the hospital here.
I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th? Of this month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road!
And 5 p.m.
is precisely the time when the incident occurred. The Slug and Salad. Yes, a pub on the northern corner of Briar Road.
Briar Road?
being the street that Mr. Garadev's house is on. Oh. Oh, yeah, I said that right. Okay.
Does this mean that? Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness.
So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day.
I'm sorry I didn't say anything before. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I've told you everything.
Yes. I'm very sorry to have had to drag up such painful memories for you.
No, it's fine.
Miss Green, please, promise us you won't try to do anything like that again.
Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but, well, that's how all this made me feel.
Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes. Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trail for today. Oh, really? Yes, it's late. And Mr. Naruhodo, did you discover anything that may be of use to you in court tomorrow, do you think? Details about Mr. Shamsphere, Mr. Garadev's lodgings, the convict Selden. There are many facets to this case, and we are yet to see to the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling anyway.
I can't help wondering about the results of the analysis.
Mr. Natsume's tea, you mean?
Yes. Will they have found story chine in it or not?
Well, I fear that either way, it will be hard to escape the grip of our friend, Mr. Reaper.
Oh dear.
Yes. Barak von Zeeks. But I wish you every success, of course, and though I was late to rise this morning. Tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and attend the trial.
Mr. Sholmes, you're going to come?
Indeed. Whatever happens, I shall be there, assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning. Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Mr. Natsume's cause until the very end. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people, but away from the razzle-dazzle, down back alleys and behind bricked-up windows, the lonely lurk. Soseki-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here, and so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow would be a new dawn for all of us. Okay, and that concludes the investigative part 2 section. I think the trial is 2 parts. I looked up a thing that let me know. Let me try to see. Great Ace Attorney 2. The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
Let's see. Yes, there is a trial part 2. And there's a trial part 3. And I think they're quite lengthy. So I think it'll be best if I stop it here and then do the court. I'll do the court parts, both parts, next week. That might be a good idea, I think. So yeah, we'll save that for next week. I think that I will end it here for tonight. And then, yeah. Yeah, interesting case. Wasn't expecting... was definitely wondering when Olive Green was going to get tied more into the court, into the case overall, so... Interesting to note. Dead boyfriend was the one who rented before Natsume, and before him was a convict who died. And then, mysteriously, the boyfriend died to gas asphyxiation. And for some reason, Natsume is experiencing the same things. So, what could it mean? It has something to do with the gas meter for sure, because Shanspire is in the basement, and we saw the handprints by the photo. But it's really weird that it's specifically the photo, because above it is the gas lamp, but to the right of it is the gas meter. So I don't know what... That could be tied to why there's handprints all over the wall, you know? So I feel like that's probably going to come up at some point with the case. And the floorboard mysteriously having the picture, the tin, the picture of the previous tenant upstairs, the tin, and there... Was there anything else? I think that was mostly it. The tin was empty. But, like... What could have been the cause of the poisoning, then? Because I'm pretty sure when we get back to court that they're going to be like, we tested the tea and there's no poison. So, that's my assumption. So going off of that, there's something else that Shansphere interacts with that evening, that the poison goes through his system. And the only thing he interacts with physically, according to the forensics, is there's a lot of handprints near the gas stuff. So, and mysteriously, Sasaki-san is experiencing his gas stove going out and it's only expelling gas. So something's happening with the gas line. So I'm thinking he's messing with the gas line somehow, but I don't know what he's doing specifically. And then how would he get poisoned from it, you know? Because that's like the only thing I can think of that he's interacted with in the room. And I can't imagine it being him trying to drink from the soap, because no, clearly not. He clearly just drank the tea, right? So, but it can't be the tea that was poisonous. There's just no way at this point. That's my assumption. But we did also see Olive trying to poison herself with some substance that is poisoning. So, like, I feel like she's somehow tied into this poison thing because of her boyfriend being murdered. Well, not even murdered, just mysteriously dying in his room to asphyxiation from gas. So, like, there's something definitely going on between her and Shanspire too, because we did see them interact for a little bit. I'm not really too sure, but I'm just gonna make a guess now that it has something to do with the gas meter for sure. He's doing something to the gas, and that's the only thing that he interacts with other than the tea and this Natsume. And those two things, I'm pretty sure at this point, it's just rolled out. It's not the way he got poisoned. So, yeah. I guess we'll see next week in the 2 parts of the trial that I'll be doing. So that'll be probably about 3-4 hours, I think, next week. That'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be exciting to read. So, let's go find somebody to invade on, as it were. Ah, I see Lei is streaming, so let us go look at Lei. I think Lei's streaming. Yep, seems like it. Alright. I'm gonna go raid Lei. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Similar time. And it'll be a little bit longer than this week's.